Our group chose to look at Irish English on one of Rory Story's YouTube videos. Rory Stories is a YouTuber whose videos are based around Irish humour. We chose this video because we felt that it was an ideal portrayal of the variances of Irish English spoken throughout Ireland.
And anything was done with that performer.
First, we looked at phonology. We found that there was an emphasis placed on rhoticity. Loosely, rhoticity is the pronunciation of R sounds. This can differ greatly depending on the speaker, such as seen from the second speaker when saying Mullingar. The TH sound in Irish English is often pronounced as D, such as seen in the lads, the story, and the lift. There is also non-articulation of T seen in certain words such as Dermot. Vowel sounds are emphasized, which is evident in the way the words atrocious, useless, and awfully are pronounced. Rising and falling intonation can be heard throughout the clip. There is rising intonation on the words story and up, and falling intonation heard on the word down. We then looked at morphology, and the first thing we noticed was the idea of covert prestige. There is regular use of swear words and slang. There is an example of the second person plural pronoun seen in the phrase your man.
The next topic to be discussed is syntax and pragmatics. Firstly, there are a few cases in the video where there is no use of a verb phrase. For example, in this sentence, the speaker does not include a verb. Another syntactical feature is the repetition of words in the sentence. Here, in this example, the speaker repeats the words yeah and it was. The use of incorrect verb form is also evident from the Irish English speakers heard. Instead of using the correct word, which is did, the speaker says done. This is an example of language ideology which will be discussed later in the video. In terms of pragmatics, pragmatic markers, such as the examples given, are often used in the video as conversation fillers. Yes or no questions in the video are often avoided as speakers use phrases such as oh I was instead of saying yes. With regard to the concepts discussed in the lectures, there are 5 dialects of Irish English heard in the video. These include dialect features of counties Dublin, Westmeath, Cavan, Monaghan and Down. The language used by the speakers broadly reflects the sociolect of GAA supporters. As a result, the way in which GAA supporters speak can be suggested to be its own sociolect. For idiolect, each of these characters show a personal idiolect in the pronunciation of certain words. With regards to accent, different areas have different accents, which is seen throughout the video. The slang used in casual conversation differs depending on the area in which the speaker is from. The phrase from the video, "What's the story?" is an example of slang. The register is the pitch in which a speaker talks. The intonation is the way in which a speaker articulates words. The rising intonation of the Monmouth speaker is seen when he says, "What's the story?" and falling intonation is heard from the last speaker when he says, "Down."
The theory which we have chosen to discuss is language ideology, which is evident in this clip. Language ideology is a set of socially constructed assumptions about a language. Every individual has their own language ideology. They feel to fit into society, they must adhere to these assumptions placed upon them by society, and thus adhere to this language ideology. As we've mentioned, speakers from different areas have a pressure to speak in an accent similar to those who inhabit the same area. Thus, there is a suggestion that language ideology can be viewed as assumptions from society as a full collective, and also broken down further into their particular area in which the individual is from. Language ideology also reflects different social classes. For example, wealthy and poor people will have different language ideologies. Social values are rigid and distinct guidelines as to how individuals should act within society. Such social values include family, respect, honesty, community. The first speaker's utterances are reflective of his social class. This is seen in the use of his emphasis on cursing and frequent use of colloquial language. The perceptions are the assumptions made by the interviewer. In each case, an individual is wearing their county colours, which indicates they're supporting their county. Thus, the interviewer assumes that they will have thoughts or knowledge on their recent team's performance. However, not all responses are the same. There are different responses by the individual causing different consequences. These variations in responses can suggest how important the individual's county team's performance is to them. The first guy doesn't have thoughts about his team's recent performance, as he clearly hasn't seen the game, but yet pretends to have had these thoughts based on the assumption that he should know. The Cavan's man response greatly differs to the first speaker's because he's almost offended by the need of a question, as he assumes that any person from their county should know their recent performance by the county in which they're from. This reflects the importance of this to the individual and is reflective of how important community, in other words, county performance, is to them. Thus, it also reflects the importance of an area of social class